Am I the asshole for not forgiving my mill when she's nosy and disrespected me? IMO. Final edit to conclude and clarify. Thank you so much to everyone for your time and candid, insightful perspectives. I've learned a lot reading through it and want to summarize as well as provide some answers to your questions below. And #X200B. 1. There's cultural misunderstanding and expectations misunderstanding. I like to be left alone. She likes to show that family should be caring. 2. Maybe my mill is caring, however, I conclude that our personalities don't fit. It's like you love someone but not the way they want. Also, I have never done or said anything rude to her, don't like confrontations. I sound like a drama queen here because I'm upset, but I'm not reacting rudely to Mill, I promise. The decision not to invest in a relationship with her is my solution to avoid things like this from happening again. For reference, her husband, Phil, was also told but never said anything to me. When Mill blurted it out, he was super embarrassed. 3. A few comments were dissing the Asian culture value I brought up. I apologize that I used the term Asian too loosely here. In my country culture, we don't ask about people's bad experiences because it might be seen as being happy about their misfortune. And my mom sharing with me about my dad's health is not gossiping though. 4. Why am I not madder at my husband versus my mill? I was mad, we argued and are trying to decide what to do in the future. It's not a deal breaker for me. He is a good husband in other aspects, and we never had issues like this before. I don't like the idea of not sharing with my partner, but maybe I'll implement it depending on the situation. I was neutral to Mill before this, not much interaction. So when things happen, I am less forgiving, I guess. I treat it like friendships. If you're mad at your close friend, you'll try to work it out if possible. But if there's a random acquaintance that offended you, even if not intentionally, you might want to move on and not engage. Why was I upset at Mill? Because she was explicitly told not to say anything to me, but she did it anyway, both times. I was only upset when she did it again despite my stating that I'm uncomfortable. The most confusing thing to me is it clearly damaged her son's reputation and marriage. She knew he told her a secret, and she busted him? I feel better and am able to understand other perspectives now. Thanks again. And #X200B. Background. A year ago, my dad was diagnosed with cancer. I, 34F Asian, learned it from my mom because dad never told me. He didn't want me to worry, just had a baby, and he hates appearing weak, sick in front of us. Culturally, we don't like to discuss our misfortune. I respect his choice, I'm sure he knew that mom told me, but we both pretend that we didn't know. I was of course sad, so I shared with my husband, and explained the situation to him. I asked him to please not check in with my dad, and not tell anyone, especially his parents because they might ask my dad. I also process negative emotions better on my own, so I don't need to talk about it. He understood and let me do the healing. Incident. 6 months later, we visited his parents in Europe. His mom suddenly asked me, "I heard about your dad, I'm sorry, how is he doing?" I was shocked and said thanks for asking. Well, I actually don't know how he's doing. I didn't say anything to her but was very upset at my husband. He apologized and said that it slipped her mind even though he told them not to ask, and that she cared about me and her intentions are good. I did not appreciate it but let it be. I understand that he's close to them and when I confided in him, I accepted that risk. He talked to her and she wanted to apologize but I said no, because I don't like confrontations like this. My dad underwent surgery and chemo and we were hopeful. 4 months later, his mom visited and stayed with us. During this trip, I received the news, from my mom, that they still found cancer cells in his results. I was devastated. My dad is only in his 60s. By now you can guess what happened next. I shared with my husband and emphasized that he needed to keep it private. The next day, when I was driving my mill, she asked me, "I just heard the bad news about your dad. How is he doing?" I was thinking, I don't know, he's probably dying, but thanks. I didn't say anything back, drove home, and told my husband in front of her what happened, then I walked away. My husband was very upset at her, probably yelling, and initially apologized to me. I said I don't want anything to do with her anymore since doing things that hurt me twice in a row is not respecting me. It's like you gossip behind someone's back and then tell them about it. Who does that, really? I also told him that I understand he likes to share with his parents, that's fine, but she can't just get nosy and ask me things that I'm not comfortable discussing. Now he thinks I'm overreacting and she has good intentions and cares about me, etc. And I'm horrible for holding grudges. So asshole judgers, am I the asshole for not forgiving my mill? And she's coming again in Sept, how should I treat her? I haven't spoken to her since. Edit for info. My husband explicitly told her that she cannot ask my dad or myself about it, both times. She knows that it would make me uncomfortable, especially after the first time she did it. Why am I not mad at my husband? Yes, I was, but in relationships, you share intimate things with your partner. Sometimes, they share it with their parents, friends. It does happen. I can understand it. What I don't get is why would she confronts me when she knows it will cause her son trouble. Your husband for betraying your confidence. Your mill for betraying her son's confidence. And you for seemingly being angrier at your mill than at your husband. Your husband is the one betraying you. Be angry at the one who is supposed to have your back. You are the asshole for being mad at your mill. Your husband is the real problem here. This is definitely an issue with your untrustworthy husband and not with your mill. Sounds like you have a husband problem. His inability to respect your wishes and keep things to himself not once, but twice is the real issue. Your mill did not mention this to your dad, but to you. She sounds worried and actually caring. She acted as a concerned family member should. Am I the asshole for not giving my girlfriend, 25 female, my dinner after I had already bought her dinner? My girlfriend, 25F, and I, 29M, live in NYC and there's a popular app where you buy leftover restaurant food. Restaurants advertise surprise bags at a reduced price in order to reduce food waste. The customer doesn't know what they're getting until they pick the food up, but the cost at least 3x lower than the normal menu price. E.g., if an entree is usually $24, the restaurant is allowed to charge $8 at most for it. These are hit or miss. Sometimes you get exactly what you want at a greatly reduced price, but sometimes you get something that you otherwise wouldn't have picked from the menu. I ordered a surprise bag from a barbecue place that I was picking up on the way home yesterday. I texted my girlfriend asking if she wanted one, but she said no, she wasn't in the mood for barbecue. However, there was an Indian restaurant right next door that also had surprise bags available on the app, so she ordered one of them. The barbecue was $12 and the Indian food was $10. When I get home I unpacked the meals to see what we got. I was psyched about my bag. Since I paid $12 I knew the value had to be at least $36, but honestly the platter looked a lot more expensive. This was a hit. Keep in mind that we live in the West Village, which is the most expensive neighborhood in the most expensive city in the US, so $36 for one meal is pretty typical. There were burnt ends, ribs, pulled pork, baked beans, potato salad, bread, onions, and pickles. My girlfriend, however, was less lucky. Her surprise bag only had 6 different types of soup, half of them being variations on cauliflower soup. She was disappointed to say the least. She asked if we should share my barbecue and I said no, I'm hungry. I offered to buy you some already and you said no, so I'm going to devour it. She got mad and called me the asshole. I told her if she didn't want soup she should have ordered something specifically instead of using the surprise bag app. I then told her to just order something off a food delivery app. She said she didn't want to spend the money. Another bit of context is I make a lot more money than her and pay all of our rent. I know she's running a bit of a lean financial picture right now. I then tell her that if she doesn't want to pay for delivery, I'll walk to the bodega on our street and can buy her something there. Another bit of context is that we live on a 4th-floor walk-up with no elevator and she broke her leg in a car accident a month ago, so it can be tough for her to get around. She says the grill is probably off there and all she wants is a hot meal. I tell her she has soup. Anyway, she thinks I'm the asshole. But in my defense, 1. I offered to buy her barbecue to begin with, which she declined. 2. She picked out her own food and I grabbed it for her on my way home. 3. When she wasn't satisfied, I suggested 2 solutions, either ordering something from an app or going to a bodega. So, Reddit, am I the asshole? The real Oz are the people at the Indian restaurant who packed a meal of 6 soups. Not even some bread? You are the asshole. Sometimes when I'm frustrated with my partner, a quick read of Am I the Asshole reminds me how lucky I am to have such a caring, compassionate human being. I don't care about technical right or wrongs. If my partner was laid up with a broken leg and got a bunch of soup, because come on, what's the likelihood of getting a bunch of soup from an Indian restaurant? I'd share based on the fact that I love him. And he would do the same for me. Little kindnesses are so lost on people, it's sad. You may win the battle but lose the war. You are treating her like a flatmate or just another friend instead of someone you are in a relationship with. I don't see why you could not join your 2 meals and share. No assholes here. This is one of those situations where you should ignore who is right and do what's better for your relationship rather than punishing your currently immobile girlfriend for having terrible luck with an Indian giving a terrible selection. Surely you could have split both the barbecue and the Indian, each eaten a decent amount of food and both been happy. You are the asshole dude. It's not like you knew what would be in your surprise bar either. You just got lucky and you share luck with people you love. It would be different if she had asked to share after both of you had ordered something specific. Would I be the asshole for wasting years of my uncle's tutoring by choosing a different college major? For context, my uncle is a longtime private math tutor. When I started elementary, my parents had gotten jobs that worked all morning and couldn't take care of us over the summer, so me and my brother would go to our uncle's home. In the first few years, Uncle taught me many intermediate math skills. Elementary math classes came very easily to me as a result and quickly became known as the go-to-math kid in my grade. Here's where I started to resent my uncle and a bit of my parents. In my 2 middle school years, my uncle had planned vacations for the summer but recommended my parents a summer school and church nearby an aunt's place, so I was sent there. From 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., I was in summer school with incredibly strict teachers. Then after dismissal, I would be sent to the church where I had various Christian activities until 8 p.m. I'm not Christian. On top of all this, my aunt who took care of us wanted us to be reading a lot and had me picking out 200-plus page books to finish every week. It was a hellish couple of summers where I had become seriously depressed for years. I was just that done with any schooling and my grades made a huge dip for the rest of my time in school. In the summer before my last year of middle school, Uncle was back to tutoring me again from 12 p.m. to 9 p.m. in 4 out of the 7 days of the week. We did lengthy hours of algebra and geometry, Chinese, English, and Spanish lessons, and this time, a lot of coding. I showed a lot of talent in computer science, so computer science started getting hammered into me a lot more. Fast forward to high school. Uncle tutored me twice per week for 2 years when he found out I was in accelerated calculus and hired another tutor for an AP science class. Throughout all of it, I never asked for help, and always dreaded tutoring days since it meant it took hours out of my time to do stuff that I actually enjoyed. I'm in college now, about to pick a major. When Uncle asked me about my major, I said, probably graphic design, but might swap to computer science if I don't like GD, since I've already shown myself talented in coding and can fall back to it. Uncle responded with, take computer science as a major, and minor in graphic design, since CS will give you much more opportunities. So now I'm being tutored again, this time for Python. I'm also supposed to learn Java and C++ on my own and test out of the first few classes at the start of next semester. I've been bored out of my mind and have been forgetting 90% of the lessons for far. I haven't done any self-study and am more focused on my 2 game tournaments and making GFX for a gaming org. I have an appointment with my college counselor in a couple of weeks to go over my plans. I'm more interested in GD. But I'm afraid it would cause a lot of tension since my dad and uncle are close and this will basically have wasted all of the summer lessons I was given. Not the asshole time to put yourself first. Dad and uncle aren't living your life, you are. Stand up for yourself, while you still have the time. Man, I feel so terrible for you having those study hours, you poor kid. Do what makes you happy for once, follow your dreams. It's your life, not theirs. Surely they'd rather see you happy than just succeeding? I'd hope so, good luck. Not the asshole. It's your life, not theirs. You only get one. Not the asshole. And it's not your uncle's time that's been wasted but yours. Your uncle an adult that was free to decide over his time. You've been a minor that was forced into taking all the tutoring. Not the asshole. I dunno if your family would appreciate the sentiment. They don't seem to have cared about your feelings and interests much as you were growing up. But I would suggest you reframe it to at least yourself as, this summer's tutoring was a helpful learning experience. I learned computer science is not for me and I would likely be miserable if I tried to major in it. Now you have more data to help you pick your major. I can't give an opinion since I don't know, and probably won't understand, the context. Does this happen in South Asia or other place where family has strong positions in everyone's lives? Also, amount of tutoring you have been through is just staggering to me. How on earth your parents can afford that all? How come your opinion has never before been asked? What?